Welcome to Daily Meditation with Sangha Live.
Good morning, good morning. It's good to be here. It's good to see you and feel you all arriving together. Deep welcome, heartfelt welcome to all of you, wherever you are and through whatever time realm you are. So deep welcome to each of you who are arriving through this recording at another time as well. And as always, each morning, the invitation to connect into our shared field, both this energetic heart field we create, which is strengthened when each of us intentionally places our awareness there. And also the physical presence of each of us here. Just acknowledging and bowing inwardly to the truth of each of us here, committing to show up this heartfelt intention to open our minds, to soften the heart, to be here in the body with the light of curiosity, with the warmth of kindness and care, to show up in the world as open minds and soft hearts, and so that we begin to create the world this heart knows is possible. And so we've been practicing through this week with this theme of the journey from suffering to love, which really means the practices which, maybe to put most simply, which can support us when we're most triggered. And an understanding of the way that I'm interpreting the word suffering this week is the experience of adding additional contraction or collapse, additional resistance or grasping and clinging to something that is arising in this moment. It's the way in which we try to hold on or push away to something that is already here before we've actually met it in the body with love. So it's another way of expressing the reactivity that arises, the habitual, reactive, fear-based narrative, belief, and action that arises from this place of suffering, which creates more suffering. So we've been practicing so far with the all-important practice of pausing those narratives, pausing the reactive action to make space to come into the body and to fill the body with these qualities of kindness and curiosity, to wonder what is here and to love what is here. Practice yesterday with shining a little more light on the role that our breathing plays in our literal capacity to be present with softness and curiosity and kindness. Breathing intentionally into the belly, where the belly often becomes tight in our habitual fight, flight, freeze response. And allowing the breathing body to send the physiological signals to the brain that in this moment there is safety, which, as some of you highlighted, and I'll come back to a question that was unanswered yesterday in a moment, around this, that as some of you highlighted, it shows up the feelings of unsafety. When we invite in this possibility of safety, it shows up the parts of us which feel unsafe. When we invite in the possibility of love, it shows up the parts of us that feel unlovable or that don't trust love. When we invite in the possibility of belonging or intrinsic worth, it shows up the parts that don't belong, that feel unworthy. And so we continue to establish and connect to a part of us that can feel that in this moment is feeling safe enough, grounded enough, connected to the earth enough, breathing enough, that can begin to provide a home for all these parts that feel unsafe, unloved, unworthy, not belonging. So that from this home, we can turn towards and meet those parts in the body where they feel contracted, collapsed, and breathe into them and rest beside them. Soften around them. Stay here with love. So that the parts that feel unsafe and unloved experience in a very immediate and embodied way what it means and feels like to be held with love. And when we do this, it becomes possible to choose our response in this moment and in the world that is also founded in loving presence. So that we're taking care of these parts that feel unsafe and unloved, so that we can respond for them rather than enmeshed and blended with them. We respond from them. We can take care and hold fear lovingly so that we respond in a way that is of greatest benefit to the fear that resides in us, rather than acting in the world from fear. And so we begin to recognize that with fear, for example, and this feeling of unsafety, which is, Caroline, I hope you appreciate, I hope I'm answering in a roundabout way the question that you brought up. We begin to recognize that in any moment we have a feeling and a story around an experience. So when there's the feeling of not being safe, for example, or the feeling of not being loved, we will very quickly create stories and beliefs around that, that give an understanding and the reasoning, often very real, of why I'm not safe, of why it's not safe in this world, of why I'm not lovable, not worthy, don't belong. And as I mentioned yesterday, sometimes these stories are very real and immediate, and it's true that we're not safe. So as I said yesterday, many people in the world at the moment are in this moment not safe. And so it's appropriate in those times. There have been times in our life where we have not been safe. It's appropriate in those times to be in a fight, flight, freeze state. It's appropriate in those times to fight for our survival. But what often happens is we maintain, we stay in that state of survival-based fight, flight, freeze, even when this body is safe. And so in order to begin to heal from that state so that we don't respond in ways that perpetuate that suffering, which we're seeing in the world again and again and again, we need to learn to release the stories, whether they're real or not, soften around the beliefs, whether they're true or not, so that we can begin to finally meet the feelings that it wasn't safe to feel before. So on the first day, on Monday, our practice was about pausing and coming into the body. Yesterday, primarily about the breathing that allows us to do that. And today we'll be shining a little more light on this possibility of releasing and feeling. So we pause, we breathe, we release the stories, soften around the beliefs, and feel what's here with love. So because really all of these invitations are supportive, we will still be bringing in the practices, of course, of coming into the body, of being here with curiosity and kindness. And we'll also begin our practice together this morning with a breathing that helps us lengthen the exhalation. The emphasis is on the exhalation is specifically because when we are in this fight, flight, freeze state, we tend to harden the belly and come into very shallow inhalations. And in order to lengthen the inhalation, we need to lengthen the exhalation. We need to breathe out fully in order to make the space to receive a full breath. So we'll begin today. Yesterday we did counting 1 to 10, but today we'll begin with what's traditionally been invited throughout sacred practices, throughout religions and spiritual traditions over time, of chanting. But we'll, rather than chanting any words or verses, we'll simply chant together the sound of Om. The beauty of chanting is that it not only lengthens our exhalation through that lengthened sounding, but it also aligns the heart and mind towards devotion. So I invite you to bring that quality of our deepest heartfelt softening and opening to what matters most to us. We're going to first break down the sound of Om into its 3 syllables. So we'll be sounding the sound of Ah and really feeling its vibration in the lower belly, and the sound of Ah and really feeling its vibration in the heart area, and then the sound of which we'll feel in the face and also the vibration here in the wisdom center. And then we'll do the sound of putting those 3 syllables together and make the sound of Om together 3 times. I'm telling you in advance just so you know, and then I'll guide you through it. And one more thing I'd like to say before we begin is that though the emphasis is on this exhalation, I'll really be inviting you to feel the space created for the inhalation as well, since we're bringing in this quality of devotion today, and we'll continue with that tomorrow. The lifted spine, the open heart, front, back, and sides, is what allows the heart to feel present and to really offer itself in soft openness. And that's the quality of the inhalation. So for those of you, and I hope this answers some other questions that came yesterday, perhaps from Joanne and Wendy, around supporting a full inhalation that comes first from a full exhalation, and then from making space in the body for the inhalation to be received. So we're not exhaling and exhaling and exhaling and dropping and dropping and dropping. So there's nowhere for the inhaling to come. We're exhaling and lengthening and lifting and then receiving the fullness of the breath. If either through physical need or preference you're lying down this morning, I invite you, if possible, to support the length of your spine with a pillow, and then have another support for your head so that your lungs can be lifted and your head also isn't dropping back. The throat is soft. Most of you might find it easiest to find this posture in a seated position. So whether seated or lying down, establish a posture where you are really grounded in your base, where the base is feeling connected to the ground, where you feel, if you're on a chair, for example, that your feet are grounded on the floor, where your sit bones can be wide. You can widen where the backs of the thighs meet the pelvis from the inside to the out. So there's a widening of the pelvic floor, really grounded base. And then draw the spine up from that base in a way that still maintains the diaphragm wide, the chest open, the shoulders released. And then if you haven't already done so, take a soft, slow breath in through your nose and breathe out with a sigh or a sound through your mouth. Taking a few normal breaths to feel the exhalation drawing your attention down into the contact with the ground. The inhalation lengthening the spine and opening the heart, front, back, and sides. The exhalation quietening the eyes, releasing the jaw, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the belly. And the inhalation broadening the kidneys, broadening the diaphragm and the heart. So we're grounded, but also awake, open, and relaxed. And then bringing a hand or both hands to rest on your lower belly as you feel your breathing there. Notice if any small movements or even large movements are needed that might help you release any tension in your breathing body, particularly around the diaphragm. If a yawn wants to come and can come, really invite that. Yawning is really helpful to release tension in the diaphragm. And with the hands on the lower belly, we'll begin together making a soft sound of ah down into the lower belly and feeling the vibration there. So let's exhale together and inhale. Taking one or two natural breaths. And then take a hand or both hands to the heart area. Making the sound of awe and feeling, inviting the vibration around your heart. Exhaling together and inhaling. And taking some normal breaths. Maintaining the lift of your spine, the openness of your heart. If you like, you could bring a hand to the third eye, the space in between the eyebrows. As we make the sound of or humming sound, you'll feel the vibration in the face and in the throat. Exhaling together and inhaling. Taking a few normal breaths and continue to allow any small or large movements that feel that's naturally supportive in releasing the breathing body. And then bringing the palms together if you like. And if you're seated, otherwise to bring the palms to rest where you want them to rest on your body if you're lying down. And with the palms together in a prayer position or resting on your body, just establishing a heartfelt, devotional attitude of presence. Connecting to what matters to you most. And let this sound as it comes now 3 times together, bringing all 3 syllables of Om and really feeling them travel through the body. Let this sound be an offering from your heart of what matters to you most. Exhaling together and a slow, soft inhale. Remaining in the field of this sacred space, of this sacred sound. You can choose to keep your hands like this or release them at any time. Feeling the breathing very soft now. Yet still present in the belly. No longer directing your breathing in any way. But feeling its ripple. Its touch, wherever you feel it. maintaining space between your back teeth, lips barely touching. Receive the breath. And as your attention wanders elsewhere, as it does, in each moment of noticing, celebrate the noticing with so much warmth and kindness. Simply unhook. Return to this sanctuary, this refuge of your softly breathing body. Each time you unhook from story, notice if any tension has crept back into your jaw or your eyes. And release, relax, soften, smiling inwardly as you return to this sanctuary of a softly breathing body. Unhook, soften, and return. Grounded, awake, open, and relaxed in the body. unhooking, softening, and resting in the sanctuary, the refuge of the breathing body. And widening your attention now to include the sensations of any emotions that are here. Curious and caring towards any feelings of tightness in the diaphragm or the chest or the throat or the belly. It may be that you know what you're feeling and you're not quite sure where it is in the body, in which case really be curious. Feel into, ask, how do you show up? Or it may be that you feel sensations in the body but you're not quite sure what you're feeling. And again, stay close to those sensations. Be curious. And turning towards, breathing into, softening around, and resting beside. The imprint of these emotional currents as they move through the body. You're welcome here. You belong here. It's safe for these feelings to be here. You're loved. And some of you might notice a response that arises even with the suggestion of those words. You're safe. You're loved. You belong here. And where there's trauma, whether it's personal or ancestral or collective, we can quickly go into the story, the belief, the narratives. And so I invite you all, for now, to unhook, to take a slow, soft inhale through the nose and exhale with a sound or a sigh. And just for now, soften your hold around those beliefs. Even if they're true, for now, turn back to the feelings behind them. Trust in the transformative power of meeting our feelings, our emotions here in the body with love. That the feeling of not being safe is safe here. The feeling of not being loved is loved. The feeling of not belonging belongs here. Continue to grow tall in your spine as you feel what's here to be felt. Courageously open across the heart, front, back and sides, in the face of all that is here for us to feel. This is where love's revolution begins. Turning towards, breathing into, softening around, and resting beside whatever it is you're feeling as it arises here and now in your body with so much love. The heart lifted, courageously, radically open in the face of life. Open to receive the breath of love. Open to be held in the lap of love. Whatever you're feeling is welcome here, is safe here. Whatever you're feeling belongs here and is loved. As you inhale, if your hands aren't there already, returning your palms together in front of your heart or resting them on your body. Lifting your heart, breathing deeply to fill the front, back, and sides of the heart. And sensing love's power to respond. Fiercely or gently, love's response is appropriate, direct, transformative. Love's response has unlimited possibility. Thank you, friends.
Today's podcast is an offering to you from our archive of freely available live daily classes. We make wisdom teachings and meditations as freely available as possible to as many people as wish to practice. You can help ensure we can continue to support a worldwide Sangha by leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts, by sharing this with someone who'd be interested, and by offering a small financial support at sangha.live/donate.